Hi everyone, I'm John and welcome to the Fit Life channel. If you are new to my channel, I do comparisons between smartphones, cameras, and various other gadgets. I also do long-term durability reviews on various items. In my hand here, I have the Sony Xperia PRO-I, a flagship smartphone released in late 2021. What's unique about this smartphone is its main camera. It's a stacked CMOS 1.0 type sensor taken from the Sony RX100 compact digital camera. In my hand here, I have the Canon G11, a premium compact camera released in 2009. This has a CCD sensor with a smaller size compared to the Xperia PRO-I, but it does have a larger lens system. Why do I have these two devices in my hand? Well, for this video, I'm going to do a photo comparison between the two. So it's Sony versus Canon, CMOS versus CCD sensor, and a larger 1.0 type sensor compared to a smaller sensor but with a larger lens system from the G11. Will photos from this 15-year-old camera be equal to or better than the ones coming from the Sony Xperia PRO-I? Or maybe because of its age and supposedly inferior sensor, it may not do so well. All right, let's go find out. First, I will go over the settings I use for both cameras, a brief description for each one, and JPEG and RAW photo samples from the both of them. Finally, I'll give my feedback on some positive and negative aspects about the photos from both cameras. If you want to skip these sections and just see the photo comparison, please proceed to the time of this video. Photos from both cameras were taken in JPEG and their RAW format using their max wide angle or mid-range zoom focal length. For its wide angle, the Xperia PRO-I uses a full frame equivalent of 24mm, while the Canon G11 uses 28mm. For its mid-range zoom, the Xperia PRO-I uses one focal length of 50mm. The Canon G11 can go all the way up to 140mm, but I stuck with an approximate focal length of 50mm to match the Xperia PRO-I. For camera modes, I used aperture priority to match the aperture as close as possible to each other if the scene allowed it. The Xperia PRO-I only has two apertures of f2.0 and f4.0. The Canon G11's aperture range is from f2.8 to 4.5. When it was windy, I used shutter priority mode to minimize blurring of the photos. And when I had very little time to take a photo, I used program mode and just adjusted the exposure. Most pictures were taken handheld using each camera's optical stabilization system. Some were also taken on a tripod. Let's go check out a brief description of each camera and see how their features stack up to each other. Will they have an advantage or disadvantage over the other when taking photos? For this portion of the video, I'm going to show the unedited JPEGs from both cameras first, and then a comparison between both of them. Next will be their raw files edited in Adobe Lightroom Classic using either Adobe Color or Adobe Landscape depending on the scene. Lightroom Classic will adjust sharpness, clarity, saturation, and other settings if auto mode is used, so I left those alone.
The Xperia PRO-I had the superior photos in most lighting, but only with its 24mm focal length. It had decent images from the 50mm lens, but it's best used in favorable lighting and with close subjects. The Canon G11 had lackluster photos compared to the Xperia PRO-I, but harmonious image quality from its multiple apertures and focal range. And also, its RAW files can be just as good as the Xperia PRO-I's.
All right, everyone, I hope you found that comparison interesting, and perhaps maybe you learned that having an old compact camera like the Canon G11 is not as bad as some sources want you to believe. We don't need to be upgrading our camera every single year or every 2 years. The advantages that type of camera has over smartphones is that you can use them for many years and produce some great photos. Go ahead and leave some comments about what you thought about this comparison. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And I'm thinking maybe the next review between the Canon G11 will be with the Samsung Note 20 Ultra. It has a similar sensor size to the Xperia PRO-I. That's it, everyone. Stay safe, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.